bringing the heat to your street. This is Flame FM in Swindon.
Flame FM will be returning to the airwaves of Swindon during May this year. It's organised by Swindon Churches Together, and they'd very much like your support. To explain what we'd like from you and why we think it's important that you're involved, here's Barbara Afterlack, the Secretary. Barbara, what is Flame FM?
It's a time where we try and get Swindon churches together in a project that actually individual churches couldn't do themselves. But if we combine, we actually can pull the resources together and provide a community project, which then isn't just for church people to get involved in, but for all people across the community to get involved in, either in helping set it up, presenting, or listening and taking part in that way of listening, and maybe phoning in if we have some phone-ins and things.
For those people who really don't know anything about Flame FM, can you just explain what it's all about?
I guess I'd say it's partly about unpacking some people's idea of Christians, maybe in some way, because and not everybody will think this, but some people might think, oh, if you go to church, you're a bit of a fuddy-duddy, or you don't really, you don't really have fun in life. And actually, radio is great fun, and this is one way of showcasing, if you like, that actually, Christians believe in God and they go to church and they do those things that people might find a bit odd, but actually we do an awful lot of other things as well, involving getting, which involve getting involved in the community. But also we love projects that are good fun, and this is a way of reaching people in their own homes and saying, we've got opinions on social justice and social responsibility things, because there will be programmes that will cover some of the issues that face our world today. There will be some programmes on debt counselling, the current economic climate, the actual weather climate. There's going to be all sorts of different programmes with a good solid base to them on that base. But there will also be programmes which are music and light-hearted and stories. Just really saying to people, we are Christians, but we're just like everybody else.
You sometimes won't have quite as long to explain it. You're standing at the bus stop, Mrs. Miggins is there, she's going in 10 seconds. How are you going to tell her what it is?
In 10 seconds, community radio with a Christian flavour. I think our tagline says it pretty well.
OK, you could say that that's the official view. What's the most important thing about Flame as far as you're concerned? Not the church hierarchy, the big cheeses. As far as Barbara is concerned, what's the most important thing?
Brings people together. Whether that's physically, as in bringing people together who actually come to the studio, take part in it, help set it up, or whether it's more sort of metaphorical, bringing people together in that they're listening to it in their own homes, but actually then swapping stories or chatting about it to other people who've listened as well. It brings people together, and it brings them together in a good way. Not necessarily. Lots of times we get together to fight a cause or to get together. We have similar interest in something. This is getting together to actually do something or listen to something, take part in something, which is good.
There's going to be one or two people who will be listening who aren't necessarily churchgoers, who are going to be slightly concerned about the music. Is it all going to be Cliff Richard and hymns?
As much as I'd love to have Dawn Till Dusk Cliff Richard, no, I wouldn't. No, it's going to be a real mixture of music, as it always is. We do have the Cliff Richard style, the sort of poppy style music, and also the Christian type style. We will have worship songs and hymns, because we will be broadcasting services. We will also have right across to the extreme heavy rock, sort of punk rock, which is a Christian punk rock, which actually sometimes when I hear it, I'm trying to discover where the Christian lyrics are, because I can't understand what they're singing, but those that do understand the lyrics do tell me that they are Christian. So we go right across the board, and so depending on which time of day people tune in will depend on what sort of music they will hear, or whether they hear any music at all, because obviously sometimes we will be a talking station, but then there will be a lot of music programmes as well.
Who are you aiming the station at? I suppose what I'm really trying to say is, who do you want to listen?
Basically, we want everybody to be listening to Flame FM, but perhaps not all the time. We issue a What's On guide, and we'll also publish on our website, which is flamefm.co.uk. We'll publish a schedule on there, so that people can pick and choose their programmes. Because sometimes we will be a sort of a Radio 4 style programme. We'll start off the mornings being a bit more like Radio 2, we'll become a bit more like Radio 4 during the midweek mornings, we'll then probably go back to a Radio 2 style. Then we have the school's involvement, which may take us more along the lines to Heart or Radio 1, and then come back to sort of Radio 2 in the evenings. So there will be some times where people will tune in and think, oh, that's not my sort of music, that's not my sort of programme. But actually, later on in the day, or a day later or something, there will be something that there will be there. So we're not expecting everyone to do what I do, listen to the whole thing 24 hours a day. Well, not quite 24 hours a day, but but we'd hope that we would provide something for everybody at some stage during the day.
What would you say to people who were concerned that, because it's run by Swindon Churches Together, and they may not necessarily be churchgoers, that it's all going to be very fire and brimstone and trying to convert them, or very excitable, very happy clappy? What would you say to people who would say it's all going to be a bit too much for me?
I'd say it absolutely definitely won't be a problem. We're very careful in broadcasting, and in what we allow to broadcast. We always obviously make sure all our presenters are trained, and that's not only training them on the desk, it's actually training them in what they should and could and can and can't say. And I would certainly say to people that is Christianity is something you show by how you live. It's that old adage, isn't it? Show people you're a Christian, and if you have to, use words. So we show by the type of station we are that we're very open, hopefully socially responsible, and providing some thought-provoking things, but also some fun. So I would say, rest assured, you will not feel like that during Flame.